So at 40 years, sometimes folks think you're getting old and you're slowing down. RJC is not slowing down. As I have said many times, the RJC was created for this time. This is our time. The state of Israel has faced challenges. We face challenges within our own party, but we are stronger than we have ever been. This is the largest gathering that the RJC has ever been. Give yourselves a big round of applause. And we are strong, and I'll give you two reasons. One is because of the times. The reality is that the Democrat Party has abandoned the Jewish state. That is a reality. It breaks my heart. And so the RJC is the only home for Jews who love Israel. Okay? We are their home. It is our home, the RJC, the Republican Jewish Coalition. The other is the fact that we are built on such a strong foundation. I've said that people say, how do you see so far? Because you stand on the shoulders of giants. I've stood on the shoulders of giants, of the founders of the RJC. And you saw that in the video. Max Fisher, among others, and George Klein, who is with us today, and I'm going to bring him up in a second. And beyond that, my predecessors, Cheryl Halpern and David Flaum and Sam Fox, and really giants. But in addition to that, we've had giants who supported us. Nobody had bigger shoulders and who gave us more support than Sheldon Adelson, and we miss him dearly. And the last piece of that is because we have been guided. We've had someone who has guided us through all these times, almost all those 40 years, and that is Matt Brooks, our CEO. He is, the Jewish people owe him a debt of gratitude for what he has built and what he has forged and for the kind of what brings us here today. So for so many reasons, we are stronger, we are more powerful, we are more impactful, we are more needed than ever before. And it is again because of what we have done and what you have done to make this all happen. And with that, I want to bring up one of our founders, who I call my rabbi, one of the sagest, really most wonderful men that I have ever met in my life. And that is George Klein. We love you, George.
You forgot to mention Max Fisher. You forgot to mention Gordy Sachs and Dick Fox from Philadelphia. The four of us helped to begin the Republican Jewish Coalition with many other people. There's nothing I really want to say more than the speeches that were said here today. What Ron Dermer concluded with, and the other speakers this evening and during this past weekend were extraordinary. But I want you to know who I am. I was born in Vienna in 1938. My parents were fortunate. We escaped to the United States in November. But we lost parents and grandparents and great-grandparents, like many of us in this room. My father came to America, started a chocolate business in the name of Barton's Candy. He became the head of the Jewish rescue, Vad Hatzalah, during the war. He went to Europe for 1 year in 1946, traveled to find the hidden children, and brought 3,500 people, refugees, to the United States. So I learned from him, and I heard a very interesting statement by Rabbi Lau, the chief rabbi of Israel, the survivor of Buchenwald, chairman of Yad Vashem. And this was a lesson to me. I built, Ed Koch asked me, I chaired, and I built the Holocaust Museum in New York, plus other things that we've done. And Rabbi Lau once said, Zechor, remember v'lo tishkach. Why do you have to say, don't forget, if you remember? So Rabbi Lau answered, because we have to remember, lo tishkach are the survivors. They can never forget. They can never forget what they went through. And we heard this weekend, we hear it all the time, survivors are leaving us, unfortunately. Who are the survivors today? The hostages. Those were our IDF soldiers. Those were the dedicated people. They are the people who will tell the story in the future. Lo tishkach, they will not forget. Ron, Matt, Cheryl, and all the other individuals involved. Hashem shall bless you. We should make a shechianu for what happened this year. And God should give you the strength to go on, to remember, and to never forget. Thank you for honoring me.
Now, one of my great, again, predecessors, the shoulders in which I stand, and that is Cheryl Halpern. Cheryl, please.
So a little trip down memory lane. As we all know, the making of a great organization is a credit to the individuals with the vision and commitment to both create and sustain it. This evening, I want to really acknowledge the memory of Max Fisher, who founded the National Jewish Coalition that then became the Republican Jewish Coalition. And the formal change name was a pivotal moment during my chairmanship. In just 4 decades, the RJC has become one of the most important institutions in American Jewish public life and has helped transform the American political landscape for the Jewish community. The Republican Jewish community really has benefited as the RJC emerged as a distinguished organization where the Republican Party, its candidates, and elected officials learn the perspective of the Jewish community concerning the broad spectrum of issues facing our country, and where serious political discourse occurs with respect for Jewish values. Before the RJC was created, there was no such place for such political engagement. An important example, it was the RJC that effectively communicated to the Republican Party leadership our concern regarding bigotry and anti-Semitism. I remember in 1994, Haley Barbour, then chairman of the RNC, ran a non-stop campaign distancing the party from the rabid anti-Semite David Duke. Haley's actions demonstrated that the Republican Party wouldn't put up with bigots and anti-Semites. And later, RNC chairman Reince Priebus explicitly stated, quote, "Hateful bigotry has no place in the Republican Party." And the RJC continues its critical work with the Republican leadership to fight anti-Semitism whenever and wherever it occurs. It is such a contrast with the other party, where bigots and anti-Semites are excused and even welcomed. Grassroots advocacy and engaging with state and local officials has been a hallmark of the RJC. I am proud that the RJC worked together with Governor Tom Kean of New Jersey, who signed the Holocaust Education Law in 1994, mandating Holocaust education in all of the New Jersey public schools and affirming New Jersey's commitment to combating anti-Semitism. However, as of today, there are only 29 states that mandate Holocaust education. At a time marked by Holocaust denial and the revision of history, and where there are not many Holocaust survivors still alive, we must prioritize educating the next generation. The RJC's trips that have been introduced state officials to Israel has been impactful. In December 1998, I received a handwritten thank you note from the then Governor George W. Bush following his first trip to Israel that was hosted by the RJC. He wrote, "I was deeply moved by your thoughtful planning to make sure that I saw the hard realities of war and peace, as well as the spiritual aspects of Israel. God bless." President Bush always remembered that trip during his presidency. There is so much that the RJC has achieved in 40 years. The National Archives has a Shakespearean quote on its monument: "What is past is prologue, and what is being experienced today in the present is crucial to address." The Republican Jewish Coalition continues to provide an important opportunity for all of us to gather and share our thoughts about how to achieve a better tomorrow for all Americans within the framework of the Republican Party and with respect for Jewish values. I thank all of you for being here and for your commitment to the RJC. As we work together to address our concerns, we will hopefully achieve what the Jewish songwriting duo of Coleman and Lay wrote, and which was crooned by Matt's favorite vocalist, Frank Sinatra: "The best is yet to come."
So the RJC has had the benefit of training some young people who have gone on to do great things. One of them is one of our new board members, Dan Constant, who chaired the Congressional, was an intern for Matt, chaired the Congressional Leadership Fund, which in the last 2 cycles has raised over $700 million for Republican House candidates. He did pretty well. But perhaps our most successful former employee is our friend William Dariff, who went on from working with us in the RJC to now become the CEO of the Council of Presidents of Major Jewish Organizations. William, it is a great pleasure to have you here with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Senator. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me to celebrate the RJC. It's been nearly, exactly actually, 2 decades since I left the Republican Jewish Coalition, where I served as a Deputy Executive Director. And it is so great to see so many familiar faces here who 20 years later are still engaged. Kol hakavod to all of you for your engagement. I learned right here at the RJC that real leadership means building upon those who came before us. And some of those names have been mentioned, but I will mention some of those names of blessed memory who are giants: Max Fisher, Dick Fox, Sheldon Adelson, Sam Fox, Jeffrey Feinstein, David Flom. My mentors who are here with us today and throughout this conference: George Klein and Cheryl Halpern, Phil Rosen, Diana and Michael David Epstein, Elliot Lauer, Alan Sager, Mark Goldsmith, and so many, Mark Goldman, and so many others have helped to shape who I am and what the RJC has become, and I thank you. 2 of the leaders I respect and 2 of my friends I respect the most, Norm Coleman and Matt Brooks, deserve enormous credit, and let's give them a round of applause. Building on decades of growth and vision, they have guided the RJC to new heights of importance, respect, and indispensability. As the Chief Executive Officer of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, where I am a post-partisan, leading a coalition of 50 national organizations that span the full diversity of Jewish life, let me say two things loud and clear. First, thank you, President Trump, for freeing our hostages and for obliterating Iran's nuclear threat. And thank you, President Trump, for focusing the full force and attention of our federal government on combating anti-Semitism. Second, I'm proud that so many of the speakers here this weekend followed the lead of Matt and Norm in condemning Tucker Carlson and his ilk and in declaring that anti-Jewish racism must be condemned at every turn. It's easy to condemn those across the aisle, but it takes real courage to call out those who are on our side of the fence and are in our ranks when they do wrong by us and by our people. And that is exactly what we must do to continue to defeat this scourge. Matt, thank you for your profile and courage in moving this forward and for your example and for your moral clarity. We are one Jewish community bound by shared values, shared purpose, and shared destiny. May we continue to stand together, shoulder to shoulder, in defense of Israel, in defense of the Jewish people, and in defense of the timeless values that bring us all together. Thank you so much, and thank you, RJC.
They say that A's hire A's and B's hire C and D's. Matt Brooks was smart enough to hire an A, and his name is Alex Siegel. Alex, by the way, everything you see here tonight, he made happen, and so we give him all the credit. Alex, please.
Thank you, Senator. Hello, Las Vegas. Let me hear you cheer for Israel. How did I do? For the past 15 years, I've had a front row seat to the most remarkable growth story in politics. When I first started at the RJC, one of my first events was in this hotel for our annual summit. And we were in a small ballroom, essentially in the basement, with 200 people. And now tonight, here we are gathered with over 1,000 attendees and honoring people like Floyd Money Mayweather. Truly unbelievable. And so over those 15 years, I've heard Matt say, and I'm sure everyone in this room has heard him say, that political organizations are influential for one of two reasons. They can raise money or they can deliver votes. But what makes the RJC unique is that we can do both. And we can do both because of the foundation that was laid by the founders on this stage, by our current leadership, and the donors and supporters in this room. And so I'd like everybody to raise a glass and cheers the RJC for 40 successful years of growth and a big l'chaim to 40 more years of the same accomplishments and winning. Thank you.
And finally, the man who needs no introduction. For 37 years, he has led this organization from where perhaps in the beginning you were meeting in a phone booth, and today we are more than 1,000 strong here and 100,000 strong nationwide. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of the RJC, the incomparable, almost Frank Sinatra kind of doppelganger or something, is Matt Brooks. We love him.
As somebody who is batting cleanup in what is turned into an extremely long extra inning game, I will be extremely brief, because also I know we all want to hear John Ondrasik. To be standing here today celebrating our 40th anniversary when I joined the organization back in March of 1988 was something I never thought we'd see. A lot of people wrote us off, and I will tell you that thanks to the incredible vision of George Klein, Max Fisher, Dick Fox, Gordy Zacks, the leadership of Cheryl and Sam Fox and David Flom and Senator Coleman, we have grown beyond anybody's expectations. And as Cheryl said, she took my line. I was going to quote Frank Sinatra and say, the best is still yet to come, because it is. And I have been blessed for two very important reasons. Number one, I have been blessed because I was lucky enough to find my unicorn dream job as my first job. And I always look at all these kids today that are sending their resumes around, and by the time they're 27 or 28, they've had 6 different jobs. I was fortunate because I found the job that was at the perfect intersection for me of 2 things that I care very deeply about. It was at the intersection of Republican and Jewish. And so every day I get up and I love what I do. And this is just, being here with all of you today just inspires me and elevates me and just makes me so happy. And the other thing that I cherish is the incredible staff that we have at the Republican Jewish Coalition. We are grateful for all of you and your financial support, but at the end of the day, the implementation, the execution of our plan never would happen without the incredible team, and led by Alex as our Chief Operating Officer, all of the staff who is here today, all of the staff that has been here through the years are AA+, and I am so grateful to have the best team and the best staff in the business. And the only reason that we stand up here and the organization looks good is because of the people you don't see behind the scenes who are absolutely incredible and indispensable to what we do. So with that, I want to just say thank you for the honor, thank you for the opportunity to have served and to continue to work on behalf of the Republican Jewish Coalition and to continue to have the kind of impact that we do. And now I know we're going to turn it over to John Andrasik, but thank you all, and I am so grateful. Thank you.